Hey, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. So this is going to be a pro wrestling Mandela Effect video. For those of you that are not pro wrestling fans, but maybe you're Mandela Effect fans, you can watch this. For those that are pro wrestling fans but don't know what the Mandela Effect is, I think you'll find this very interesting. Basically, what is the Mandela Effect is a summary for those of you that already know this. Advance 30 seconds perhaps or a minute, but I'll give you the brief overview of what is the Mandela Effect. Maybe 7 or 8 years ago, a woman online, this is 2022 when I'm saying this, um, March 6, 2022 to be exact. So about 6 or 7 years ago, a woman went online, and this was actually when Nelson Mandela died. So that would have been December 5th, I believe, 2017. I could have that date wrong, but I believe it was 2017, or was it 2014? But in any event, it was December 5th. Nelson Mandela passed away, and everybody was doing their online condolences and talking about what a great person Nelson Mandela was. And this one particular lady out there in the world uh, went on her blog. I guess she had a blog going on, and I think she was kind of involved in the paranormal or the psychic mediums type of thing. And basically, she said, "Hey, everyone's saying how sad they are that Nelson Mandela died, but I remember Nelson Mandela dying in the 80s while in prison during the apartheid regime. And all these celebrities went on TV, like the Oprah Winfrey Show, and they would wear t shirts with Mandela's prison numbers. And it was like a big political thing, like the death of Mandela was like this big uprising. And that's what she remembered. She remembered these T-shirts being a big fashion trend, celebrating Mandela or making the point that he was unjustly incarcerated due to the racism over there in South Africa at the time. And she put this blog out there. Pretty brave of her to go, because people hadn't really done this before. Like she had a very specific vision of her memory, and then other people started writing in to her blog, and then it kind of caught fire, I guess, maybe on Reddit or other social media trends of what this thing was because other people reported that they remembered Mandela dying as well. And so then when they hear these reports of December 5th, which is happens to be my birthday, whether the year was 2014 or 17, I think it was 17, but I'm confusing myself. When he died in this other death scenario, people are very confused. Like, how can he die now when we already have heard that he's dead? So that's the Mandela effect. Now, other people started talking about stuff. Uh, the Berenstein Bears is a big one. How do you spell that? That's a tough word to spell anyway, to be honest with you. The Berenstein Bears kids' books. There's a lot of things with pop culture. A big one is the Rodney King uh, quote. You have to be a certain age, I guess, to know what I'm talking about. But Rodney King was the guy that was beaten up by L.A. police, and then they had all these riots that happened, and then Rodney said a very famous quote, which I can remember as "Can't we all just get along?" Well, that quote is now changed. Sally Field once won, I believe, an Oscar award. In her famous speech, she said something to the effect of, "Now you like me, you really, really like me." So all these Mandela effects, you know, and here's the thing, folks: if you put some time, if you put half an hour or an hour or a day into studying this stuff and reading about different Mandela effects, it'll blow your mind. I have friends that I've tried to talk to about, and they're so close-minded and they're so beaten down by society's expectations of their brain that they can't even have the conversation because they just blame it all on whatever. But the reality is, this is very confusing to a lot of people and very disturbing. And it's a real thing. So look it up, Mandela Effect. You can look on any YouTube video. Examples of Mandela effect. Okay, now I'm going to segue into these recent Mandela effects, and I want to give a shout out first of all to a couple of guys that commented on my previous video just a couple of days ago because I discovered this residue. What they call residue is when you have proof of the way things used to be. They call it residue from the other timeline. or universe. It's kind of like a meta universe for those Spider-Man fans, metaverse type of thing. Multiple universe, and I've written about that in my book, A Distance from Avalon. I have my own take on that, multiple universe theories and so forth. So here we go. Ozzy Morrison on my YouTube channel commented, and thank you, Ozzy, that the Kurt Hennig, and guess what, Ozzy? If you watch my original Mandela Effect video, which is not very good, but it's long, it's about from 2017, back when I lived in New England, and I was just kind of rambling about the Mandela Effect. It was all very new to me, and I said the Kurt Hennig thing. I remember Kurt Hennig with like 3 N's, like 2 N's in the beginning and 1 N at the end, and now he's just Hennig, like Henneg, and I totally remember it being like Henning, Henning, like a nice flowing Henning. Now it's Hennig. What the fuck's a Hennig? So that's that one. But this is not the one I'm talking about. This one really disturbs me, folks. This Mandela Effect, and here it is. When the Big Show, Paul White, left WCW and came over to the World Wrestling Federation at the time, it was known. Now it's the World Wrestling Entertainment. He came over and he made his debut, and I remember distinctly where I was watching this pay-per-view. I was at a friend's house in Burrillville, Rhode Island, packed house. We would always get the WWF pay-per-views and some of the WCW ones over there. And it was the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. It was a pay-per-view on St. Valentine's Day, and Vince McMahon and Steve Austin had a big cage match. And at the end of the cage match, I believe from underneath the canvas, the Big Show erupted, like came through the canvas, similar to how Kevin Sullivan had done to Dusty Rhodes, and then years later how Diesel had done to Bret Hart and The Undertaker. And basically, the Big Show emerged, and of course, he wasn't called the Big Show yet. They didn't have the name of the Giant, which was a WCW name, and they initially just started calling him by his real name, which is Paul White. And Paul White came through the fucking ring apron and attacked Steve Austin and beat him up. But I think what happened was Paul White threw Steve Austin against the cage, and the cage door fell off because of the force that Big Show used, or Paul White at the time, and Steve Austin was declared the winner. And so Steve Austin won this big cage match, and then the very next night on Raw, February 15th, 1999. That show was February 14th, 1999. The very next night on Raw, they had Stone Cold Steve Austin, the top guy in the company. I guess he was not the champion at the time because he'd be wrestling The Rock the next week. I guess The Rock would be champion if we're headed towards WrestleMania 15, which is 99. And basically, the belt was going back and forth between The Rock and Mick Foley in that era. So, but Steve Austin was still the top guy, basically, in the WWF. February 15th, 1999, the final match on Monday Night Raw that night. I remember clearly Steve Austin kicking Big Show in the midsection, giving him a stunner, and pinning him 1, 2, 3 right before the show went off the air. I have a very clear memory of that moment, of the stunner and the pin, who I was with, where I was watching this thing, and then basically thinking, well, that's not a good way to start the guy off in a new company, is to lose his first match on TV to Steve Austin. And I always remembered that throughout the many years since, 20 more years since. I even referenced this in my, because I just watched it, my Big Show video, how to ruin a Giant's career in 7 years or less or something. It's on the Mike Messier. Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. My video, which I talk about the Big Show losing to Braun Strowman in the cage and how he's always been kind of misused by the WWE or the WWF at the time. And I mentioned this Steve Austin Big Show match, right? So now here we are. And for whatever reason, I just saw something online about a week ago, something about Paul White's wrestling career and like his first match at the WWF or something, and said The Rock, February. And I'm like, wait a minute. The Big Show's first match was, oh, thanks, buddy. You look. Chris Jericho was a good guy, Sammy. I mean, you could watch. I actually filmed some of Chris Jericho's concert at Daly's Place. So if you're a Chris Jericho fan, and I appreciate that statement, that compliment, you can watch Chris Jericho's music on my channel. I've got a whole list of the 2021 Jacksonville Taco Festival. I actually saw a Fozzy concert, believe it or not. It sounded pretty good too. But let's get back to this thing, Sam. I don't know if you know what the Mandela Effect is. When you get a chance, you can watch the beginning of this video if you're not familiar with this phenomenon. But what I'm saying is, I remember clearly Paul White, still called Paul White, losing to Steve Austin with a stunner at Raw. Now, I don't remember the city for Raw that night, but I remember clearly it was February 15th, 1999. Steve Austin beat the Paul White clean. Eventually, they would start calling him Big Nasty. Like, that was Paul White's first nickname. They even had a T-shirt that said Big Nasty on it. And that was like Big Nasty Paul White. That lasted maybe 2 months or less. And then they started the Big Show thing, which stuck. It's a fairly good nickname for the guy. It's accurate. But now, folks, like I said, this has been bothering me because I have a very clear vision of this match of Steve Austin pinning Big Show on Raw. I've referenced it in a video years ago. Okay, 2017, one of my first Angry Wrestling fan rants. And now, all of a fucking sudden, if you look up Paul White or Big Show's first WWF match, it says February 22nd, 1999 against The Rock, which from my memory, just if I'm not getting my dates mixed up, The Rock would have been a heel at the time because he was getting ready to wrestle Steve Austin at WrestleMania 15, April of 99 in Philadelphia, when Steve Austin, I think, won his third WWF title reign, third or fourth over The Rock at WrestleMania 15, because 14, Austin beat Shawn, 15, Austin beat The Rock for the title, 16, Austin and The Undertaker were both injured, and they had that four-man match, which included the Big Show. Actually, it was supposed to be Chris Jericho. Big Show got his spot, by the way, Sammy. So in that match with Foley and Triple H, so my point is, I have a very people that know me, you can watch my wrestling videos. I have a memory like a steel trap for these things. I clearly remember Stone Cold Steve Austin pinning Big Show with a stunner on Monday Night Raw, February 15th, 1999. I don't remember the city, but I remember thinking it was a shitty way to bring Big Show into the company. Yes, he got a main event, but he lost the main event. And that was kind of my point on the whole Big Show's career in WWF. He was always featured, but he always seemed to lose the big ones, the big matches. Yes, he had some titles. I know that. So anyway, folks, that's my wrestling paradigm for you, my wrestling Mandela effect. Do any of you, I guess I should have asked the opening question, who do you recall for the long-term wrestling fans, who was Big Show's first opponent in the WWF? I have a very clear memory of it being Steve Austin, and now that memory, apparently, according to the fucking internet, is gone. I'd like to know if anyone remembers what I remember. Okay, I'd like to know that. Do you remember the Steve Austin match? Do you remember the Rock match being his first match? Very, very perplexing to me, but I'm not going to sell out my memory on this, folks. I'm not going to have anyone tell me that, oh, you're just misremembering. Fuck you. I remember what I goddamn well remember. And I remember the Big Show losing to Steve Austin. And it's upsetting to me that the online facts say differently now. Some people have claimed, and I think my buddy there, Luthez, what would Luthez do, chimed in on my last video about this stuff. He's having some issues with this Mandela effect too. There's a whole lot of people that discuss this stuff on the internet. There's a guy named Laszlo who does a nice job with his videos, and he's got a whole Facebook group and a whole YouTube channel dedicated to it. I'm not that deeply dedicated to it that I'm going to make my whole life revolve around Mandela effects, but when they come up, I discuss them. Other things that I've seen, the biblical phrase, the Lion and the Lamb, or the Wolf and the Lamb. Look that one up if you want. I think I did a video on that. But anyway, folks, this is just upsetting to me. I don't know if the Big Show, Paul White, will ever see this video himself, but he can chime in. Who do you remember wrestling Steve Austin or The Rock in your first WWF match? But it's just very disturbing to me. If any of you do the research on ProWrestlingResults.com or whatever the fuck it is, we can get to the bottom of this. But as of now, all the evidence I'm seeing is telling me that his first match, as chronicled now, is The Rock. I don't know if he won or lost, but I remember Steve Austin being his first match. Chungus, my buddy from Maryland's chiming in. I don't remember this exact match. I believe you. I just wish I could remember to confirm or opine. Oh, I appreciate that, buddy. And, just feel free to ask your wrestling brethren, hey, guys, do you remember Big Show's first match in WWF? Who was it against? What was the result? I'm just happy. It's upsetting to me because, Chungus, I have a fucking, for this wrestling stuff, I have like a bear trap of a mind. I just remember these things. I can tell you, first of all, a friend of mine was freaked out years ago. We were putting the WWE network on, my friend Tommy there, and he said, hey, let's watch, what's a good Lex Luger match? And I said, Super Brawl 2. So he goes to Super Brawl 2 on the WWE network at the time, and he finds Sting versus Lex Luger, and the date said on the match, February 28th, 1992. And I said, Tommy, guess what? That's the wrong date. And he said, what do you mean? I said, the match was on February 29th, 1992. He said, well, how do you, he said, what do you have? I said, buddy, it was leap year, and that was a leap day match. Okay? Sting, Lex Luger, Super Brawl 2 was leap day. My friend Googled it up, and guess what? I was right. The WWE network was wrong. Okay? So the point is, I remember this stuff. It sticks in my mind, and it's just upsetting to me. So there you go, folks. We can share this video, this prophecy, this thing. Luger versus Sting, Super Brawl 2 was leap year, 1992, and they actually had a pay-per-view on leap year day, which was interesting. It was a Sunday, and what arena was that from? I was just listening in Milwaukee, Luger versus Sting, and everybody knew that Sting was going to win because Luger was going over to the WBF, the World Bodybuilding Federation. So they had a match. It's actually a really good show. Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton versus the Steiner brothers. Ricky Steamboat versus Rick Rude for the U.S. title. Dustin Rhodes and Barry Windham versus Larry Zbyszko. And Larry Zbyszko and somebody. Steve Austin, actually. So Larry Zbyszko and Steve Austin versus Dustin Rhodes and Barry Windham. Really a fun show. Ron Simmons and the Junkyard Dog teamed up, I believe. Fun show, Super Brawl 2. And actually, the first match was Pillman versus Liger, which was a match of the year candidate. So the point is, I remember these things. I have a really good wrestling memory, especially for the time, my teens, when I was really into it, even more so than I am now. And Chungus, let's see, buddy. Yeah, I'll share in some wrestling groups and the Mandela Effect group on Facebook. Appreciate that. Whenever my final 2 hours of my 1 week ban is up. Yeah, I've experienced that, buddy. I was, who I was banned from for a week was, believe it or not, the AEW group over on Reddit, or one of them. That kind of upset me. The AEW group, these AEW, you know why? They banned me for a week because I called Kenny Omega a vanilla midget. And that fucking admin, he said I was trolling. It's just my fucking opinion. He's a vanilla midget. It's just a friendly thing to say. But I mean, these goddamn wrestling fans get their fucking panties in an uproar. But in any event, it's fun. So that's it, folks. It's just been bothering me. It's been annoying me. It's been pissing me off. And I just, it's just been one of these things where it's been on the tip of my tongue to talk about this situation. We do have AEW Revolution coming up tonight. I did do a nice, I'm not sure if Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube channel has released it. I actually recorded it yesterday morning. There was some type of uploading situation. Yeah, this is a cornet line. Twinkle toes make finger bang. So want to talk AEW Revolution. I'll be going to the movie theater tonight, probably about 10 minutes from where I'm right now. I just had a Jersey Mike's Chipotle sub. I went to the gym before that. I stretched my back. Guys, if you have bad backs or you want to have a good back, um, go to the gym and lie down on the incline sit-up bench and don't even do sit-ups, although you could, but don't do sit-ups. Just stretch your back out. It really helps stretch your back. I learned that technique from Jesse Ventura because he was talking about the incline fucking thing, like that incline thing where you hang upside down like a bat. But you get the same effect from just lying down on a incline sit-up bench, and those benches aren't used a whole lot in the gym. So anyway, that helps my back. Uh, so I'll be going to the AEW show tonight. Predictions or what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward. I hope that Eddie Kingston fucking wins the match. To be honest with you, I'm sick of seeing Eddie Kingston was money like 6 or 7 months ago. I don't know about now, but the fans really love this guy. But he's got to fucking win. So I hope, and I think that my my lookalike Chris Jericho does the honors and lets him win tonight. And then we've got. So I hope Eddie Kingston wins. I think a real interesting thing, this Bryan Danielson. John Moxley match. It's almost like a tough match that you don't really want either guy to lose. Probably, I got to think that it makes more sense storyline wise for Danielson to win and then Moxley to have to follow him into the dark side for this team. And then they can come back to another match a year from now. So I'm going to go with Danielson. I did other predictions on my, AEW apologist video for Monty the Pharaoh, which either is out now or should soon be out. I talked about the Tony Khan purchase of ROH on there a lot. What else we got tonight? Tag team. I'd rather just see a normal tag team match, to be honest with you. Luchasaurus is very choppy in his wrestling. I've used that term to describe others. Choppy is like wrestlers who aren't fluid, like the opposite of Ricky Steamboat. And he's really choppy, Luchasaurus. So I wouldn't mind seeing, and I wasn't a big NXT guy, to be honest with you. So Red Dragon from Ring of Honor, nice to see them together. I can kind of see them winning the belts. I can see them winning, and then, but I could also see the two teams canceling each other out, the Young Bucks and the Red Dragon, and somehow the Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy retain the titles. Yeah, exactly. That's choppy. Move, pause, move, big pause. You got it. Exactly. And I like the whole Luchasaurus gimmick. It's just that he's not fluid. And there's other people like that too. Naomi from WWE. She's got great athleticism. But the difference between Naomi and even her partner at WrestleMania is Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks is very fluid. Very fucking fluid. And Naomi is not fluid. Because you can see her thinking about her fucking moves before she does them. That match with Sonya Deville a few weeks ago on SmackDown. Very choppy. What else? World title match is probably, I think it's going to be a great match, but these are not. I like Hangman Adam Page. I like him more than Adam Cole. I get the Adam Cole Bebe thing, but to me, it's more like a TNT title match, or at least it should be. I guess I'm gonna go with Hangman Page. I think Cole's gonna make Page look good. I think it'll be a great match. Actually, it's one of those things where I can say it. I think as much as I am not interested in the match, I think because those two guys typically have great wrestling matches, and I think they'll have a great wrestling match with each other. I think Hangman Page and Adam Cole is gonna blow the fucking roof off the place. But as of this minute, I'm not emotionally invested in it. I just have hopes that they're gonna do a great match. But it's just the story's not there for me. What else? Oh, the Punk. Oh, Jesus, the Punk. This is going to be. I think this is going to be a classic, folks. I think CM Punk and MJF are really going to tear the fucking house down. I'm expecting big things. If it's not, that's okay because they did a great warm up or a great lead to with all their promos and so forth. But I think with the professional pride that MJF and CM Punk have, and they've harbored the spirits of Roddy Piper and Greg Valentine into this. I know Greg Valentine's still alive in this universe, but I think it's going to be very interesting, and I'm predicting that's going to be a match we're not going to forget anytime soon. So I'm going to go with CM Punk with that. For the 6-man ladder thing, I'm going to go with Wardlow. I think that they have to pull the trigger on this Wardlow MJF thing. Like I can see Wardlow winning the ladder match, the face of the Revolution, and then on Dynamite or whatever. Um, yeah, I'm going to go with Wardlow won. I think that because what's going to happen is Wardlow wins, and then what's his dick MJF demands that he gives him the title shot. Like Wardlow gives the title shot over to MJF, and Wardlow finally refuses. I think they've got to do it now. If they don't pull the trigger on Wardlow turning babyface now, you're going to have a law of diminishing returns. Let me read your whole comment, Juan. You think Wardlow wins? I got him winning because if Keith Lee wins, Tony Khan will get backlash of another XWE leapfrog. Yeah, good point. I also think that there's a lot of future for Keith Lee. I think he's got nothing to worry about over in AEW. I think he'll be used properly and treated with respect. And but I do feel like him and Rick, what's his name, Sparks, Ricky Sparks, will probably cancel each other out. You know, so I'm going to go with. And also, no offense, but I mean, I don't know if a ladder. That's a lot of weight. For Keith Lee to be on that fucking ladder. I mean, I know it is for Wardlow as well. He's also a big guy. But I'm going with Wardlow. That's my prediction. Are there any other women's matches? Tay Conti, Jade Cargill. I'm not expecting much from that match, but I am expecting Jade Cargill to win and retain. I'm a little more split on the Thunder Rosa Dr. Britt match, but I'm going with Thunder Rosa to win the title. I'm not saying that she's going to hold it very long because I think there's a lot of money to be made with Dr. Britt as a heel champion, but I think to service the feud, to service the storyline, and to be quite honest, Thunder Rosa is very popular with people. I think she's going to win. Does Brian Cage return tonight? Ladder match participant? Hey, good call, buddy. And didn't he win like the one of these things, the first one maybe, and he got his match with John Moxley and lost? Good question, buddy, because I'm going to say no on Cage, but I wouldn't be shocked. If he does return, I'll give you the credit, Chungus. But I'm predicting no. I'm just going to say no. I think Brian Cage and Cody might come back with some ROH thing. Well, who knows? Jamie Hayter, yes, very pretty. Should be the one to dethrone Jade Cargill. She's teasing the face here. Good point. Although you would think perhaps if Jamie were to turn babyface, Juan, you would think that she'd be going after Dr. Britt in that title first. That's the problem. They should have made it a women's tag team title, as other people have said, an AEW women's tag team title instead of another singles title. Chungus says, I thought he did. If you're referring to the Cage winning that ladder match and then going to face John Moxley, yeah, I think so. But yeah, man, I like Jamie Hayter too. She's good. People like her a lot. People were getting all excited today because it's apparently Jordan Grace's birthday, and she's got this provocative photo of herself. And people were worrying about yeast infections, among other things. If you see this picture, you'll know what I'm talking about. Somebody's vehicle over there is having some issues. Well, in any event, folks, I'm looking forward to it. If you haven't ordered the pay-per-view yet, and you're thinking about it, look, I get no residual from this, but the movie theaters have these events, okay? Cinemark and AMC. So if you want to basically spend half the money, I think the movie theater ticket for me is $25 here. If you watch it at home, it's $49.99. So pick your fucking poison, but I'm going to movie theater. The advantage of watching at home is you get to keep it on your Fight account. And I just invested in the NWA for a year, by the way. So I'll be watching the Crockett Cup in a few weeks. Good point. Jeff Hardy, he has history in ladder matches. Heard he was showing up on Dynamite this week in some fashion. I heard that as well. So let me ask you this. Is there still one spot open in this ladder match? They didn't fill all the spots? Good iced tea, by the way. That's one good. Here's the thing, folks. I'm in the South. Everyone drinks, sweet iced tea. I just like unsweetened iced tea because sweet iced tea tastes great, but it's like a fucking pound of sugar in a cup, okay? So I drink unsweet tea, and I put a dash of lemonade in there, okay? Just to give it a tinge of sweetness. Yeah, I don't know either, buddy. I thought they filled up the 6, but maybe there is one spot open. I know that I was watching some match last night or from what was it, from Rampage Friday night. I think they filled a spot, didn't they? I don't remember. I know we got Keith Lee, Wardlow, Ricky Sparks. So that's three. Uh, oh yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs. Did we have the one of the top flight guys in there or not? Or did the top flight guy lose? So that's four. I think the top flight guy lost to Powerhouse Hobbs. So that's four. Who else? Well, I think there's six spots, and I just named four, so I can't remember. I thought on Rampage, yeah, I said Keith Lee, Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Sparks. Who else? You think WWE trolling people with the Cody tobacco? Very good. He's listed that he's not, that some other nonsense contradicting each other. Here's the problem, guys. Both Chungus and Juan, whoever else is watching, if you're watching the replay, we just get our fucking information. Like the WWE leaks bad information sometimes. Like I think they leaked that, Vince McMahon was going to wrestle Pat McAfee, and then the next thing you know, the Wrestling Observer picks it up, and then everybody else falls in line. WrestleMania, everyone else, people are fucking social mediaing about it, and at the end of the day, okay, that's not going to be it. It's Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory, no Vince, and so we all got trolled, right? Now, does anyone come out and apologize? Does Dave Meltzer apologize? No, he just says things happen or things change or plans change. But to me, where's the apology? I mean, if these goddamn Ringside News and all these fucking wrestling reporters, no DQ's a good one, Aaron Riff's a good guy, but all these fucks, I mean, how come they never retract or apologize for their false information? You know what I mean? They don't. They just throw you more bullshit. So I don't know. I mean, as far as I was doubting that a few weeks ago when I did my Cody leaving AEW, I was basically saying it's not guaranteed he's going to WWE, but he might. And here's another idea. Maybe he just wants to take some time off. You know what I mean? How can we miss you if you don't go away? That's a Cornette expression. Okay, gentlemen, if there's anything else, I'll give you about a minute to chime it in. Do I think people are, to answer your question, I think WWE is trolling. I think that if there's a way for WWE to get a few people who may not watch WrestleMania to order it to see if Cody's going to show up, it is in Texas, which was the home of his father. Yeah, they'll do that. They'll do whatever they can because they're trying to get people to watch WrestleMania and they're trying to get people to buy tickets. And another debate is WrestleMania a flop this year if they don't sell out 2 nights at the stadium? I don't think it's a flop. If it was a rock and roll concert, if Springsteen did 50,000 people 2 nights in a row anywhere, that would be a success, right? But I think WrestleMania, they build up their own expectations so much. You know what I mean? Yeah, well, I mean, it's the wrestling business, Chungus. And, here's the thing that we as fans sometimes forget is we like to apply our morality, I like to call it the middle class morality, to other people, whether it's the president or the WWE or anyone else in power. We like to think that these celebrities or these rich people live by the standards we live by, but oftentimes they do not. A lot of times people do not live by our standards. People are surrounding me now, trying to do my video, and people are parking near me and with their families. It's a little annoying. Well, that's it, folks. So, Chungus, I appreciate you being here, Juan. You guys have a good revolution tonight. Like I said, the movie theater has it. I did throw down $50 for the NWA. I'll be watching the Crockett Cup. If any of you guys are interested in that, I do recommend the $49.99 for the yearly pass because apparently we're going to get all the pay-per-views. And I guess I'll be doing some NWA videos as well. Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Very good. Good to see you. And we'll see you tonight at the matches.